Yeah.
Yeah. It's just been fun to be here again because the first time I came was on my sabbatical, and when I knew I was coming on my sabbatical, I was really like making, kind of looking through all the books and trying to figure out where I would go, you know, and I wanted to have kind of this giant sampler tour. So I knew that this had been under restoration and was opening on a certain day, and booked myself in a hostel in Himeji on that day, and then forgot when I showed up and like walked out of the train station. It was this like magical thing, and it was springtime, right? But I didn't have time, and I'd hurt my foot, so I couldn't walk. And then it was like you had to be in this line for like 2.5 hours or something to go through that queue. And then when I got out, I didn't have time to spend looking at all these fun details. I had to like leave to get my stuff. Like, you weren't allowed to leave your stuff at the hostel after 3. So I had to go get my stuff, and you know. But yeah, it's really been fun to look at all of these details and the textures, and just go a little bit slower, and like the massiveness of this wall and the stone. It's really mesmerizing how giant this is. And then every time we like turn the corner, you can see the castle from a different angle, and it's really amazing.
How do you make time when there's so many crowds at something like this? Or
What do you mean?
like how, if you're going to visit a wonder like this,
Yeah.
and there's all these people, like how, you know, if it's like a once in a lifetime,
I know,
you're gonna go to, like,
right?
how do you make like space for that? Do you just take your time and make people stop, or do you?
Well, you've been doing it really well. I mean,
trying to, but
it's hard, right? Because everyone's like rushing by us, and but yeah, I mean, if you have one chance to come to a place like this, why are you like going a million, you know, going so fast, right? So I think that the crowd wasn't that bad today, that we could just kind of step out of the way and just intentionally go slower. But I think it's really hard to intentionally slow down, you know? I mean, look at how fast people are walking past us. But gosh, you spend so much time and money and energy to get to a place like this, and it's special, you know? So it's a world. This is a World Heritage cultural site, and they're celebrating the 25th anniversary of being placed on that list. So there's all these different celebrations, and then last night was that big light thing out there, which is really weird. It's weird in the sense that it's such a contrast, right? But it was really pretty to see. So the other thing is you have to like look at things at different times, right? So we saw it last night from the outside with this like illuminated installation that was really interesting, where if you stood in the right spot you could see the castle behind it, and through this kind of like magic light illuminated curtain almost. But I don't know, maybe freeing up an agenda and not trying to do 10 things in one day. Maybe it's just 2 things.
not planning so much.
Not planning. I mean, we just were like, okay, let's go around 9, which meant 10. And then, you know, we said,
And
let's
not getting upset that it wasn't 9 that we got.
Yeah, exactly. And like the next stop we're going, we can't technically check in until at least 4. So it's kind of a casual day, and the way the trains work here, it's so easy to just you know, go another hour later or whatever. So I mean, this experience for me to come back to Himeji had one purpose, and that was to see this and then walk around the shopping things that we're gonna do, right? So it's, who knows when you'll come back or I'll come back or wherever, like where you're in a place, but why not just kind of step to the side and let people walk by and, you know, look at all the interesting details that make it this whole kind of package.
We stopped and we had like a little, rather than like eat at a restaurant, we like got a little snack and like.
Yeah, I feel like that kind of takes so much time, and we like got our like little picnic from the Family Mart or 7-Eleven or whatever, and like had our little picnic on the bench so we could like sit and look at it from different perspectives, right? So like last night we saw it in the dark in a special experience that probably won't ever happen again in that way, right? And then we came in the morning and we had our like breakfast and we sat slowly and we sat outside. I mean, they have benches out there, so this place is like so big. You have to look at it from different perspectives and just kind of take it all in. And all of the little details I think are really interesting. Just like I'm just mesmerized by how big these rocks are. Just how much labor went into making a place like this to fortify it. It's pretty incredible.
But when you're like walking along these paths and you want to document the experience so that you like remember it, but you also want to make sure that you're experiencing it.
Right.
Which I find hard, I think, maybe with the cell phone cameras. Like,
Yeah.
as much as I, like, it's convenient, it's great, it's all in one and carry it with me, but stopping with like a camera and taking the time to like find that frame.
Yeah.
You know, and not turning your cell phone around and doing a selfie
Right.
as much as like
Right.
when you're traveling solo.
Yeah.
We've been stopping people and like taking photos.
You're on a mission to
Yeah,
help
to stop
people
the
take
selfie.
pictures.
Yeah.
Stop selfies.
But then I
Help
take them.
people. Yeah, when you travel by yourself. And, I don't know. I think it's really hard to change from a fast-paced society to slowing down and having this kind of experience in a place like this. So it has to be a conscious pace, right? And like the tea ceremony thing that we went to, that we had yesterday, when did we do that? 2 days ago. Yeah, like the pacing of like learning the harp, and then if you watch the tea ceremony, there's a routine and a ritual, and it's the pacing of it is intentionally kind of slow to engage in the experience. I think it's really hard for people to do. So sometimes that's why I want to be like a guide for people, to kind of help people to notice things, right? Because if we're just in this fast pace, you know, as a group, if there's a small group or like you and me, you know, we can kind of intentionally help each other to be like, wow, look at that, that's really interesting. That kind of like kid-like inquiry, you know, that inquisitiveness of like looking at things from a different angle, or moving to the side to let all the people walk out of the way, and then all of a sudden you look up and you're like, oh my god, look at how that is, you know? Or just not rushing out of that place. We noticed that the tiles were painted white in a different way, or the arrow, when we came down from the stairs, the arrow said exit, but then there was another arrow, and I just walked to where the arrow was, and it's like, oh, there's the weapons thing, right? But most people just walked right by them. We could do that with our life too, you know? Yeah.
Child's mind.
Yeah.